Welcome to the GFY podcast, a podcast by healthcare professionals providing insight on how to navigate your health so that you can go fix yourself. The GFY podcast is hosted by Mike Bruno, a chiropractor and athletic trainer, and me, Michael Stant, an athletic trainer certified strength conditioning specialist. Although we are healthcare providers, we are not your healthcare provider. We will discuss general health interventions in this podcast, but you should not take that as health advice that works in every situation. Before doing anything on your own or making any lifestyle changes, please consult with your own physician. This podcast and views from this podcast are separate from our full-time jobs and our own opinions. And Bruno, you got any New Year's resolutions?
My main one that I've taken up this year, cutting caffeine.
Oh,
So my beef with caffeine was I was using it to get to baseline. So like I didn't feel normal until I drank coffee. What I want to use, like I'm not like cutting it out forever. Like I enjoy coffee and I don't want it to be like that, but it's like I want my body to have some sort of normal energy cycle and reset so that I can use coffee effectively. You know what I mean?
yeah. I could tell you from personal experience, well, I definitely just have too much caffeine in general, but it's not even, I don't even think it's the caffeine, and this could be the addict talking to me. I just really enjoy coffee. Like,
oh yeah, I just really enjoy crystal meth.
Like, I think if I had decaf coffee more times than not, I could kick it. And actually what I've been doing is like switching. So like I make a cold brew at home. So it's like, you know, it's 1 cup caffeinated, 3 cups decaffeinated. So it's like, that's kind of how I wean myself further and further away from caffeinated.
Oh, I went cold turkey, man. Just like stop drinking coffee. Because I only really have, I realized it was an issue when like just 1 cup of normal coffee wasn't doing it for me. And I needed the 1 cup, maybe a second one, and then like an espresso shot or something. And I was like, all right, hold the phone.
Oh.
So like I know guys, especially like in the healthcare industry and like fitness, it's like kind of a badge of honor how much caffeine you take in a day. I know strength coaches. Yeah, I mean, it's a conversation that I have a lot unintentionally. But it's like, oh, like strength coach. I used to work with this guy who's like 1,000 milligrams of caffeine every day, which is the equivalent of 10 cups of coffee.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
Yes, it is. So that's always in the back of my head as the extreme. And my goal is to, just like anything else, like the 80-20 rule we always talk about, 80% of the time not need it. But if I want it and it's like not a crutch, then I'm like, it's not bad. So like,
yeah,
happy. Same thing with, I feel the same way about drinking. Like I don't really enjoy drinking. I enjoyed like the social aspects of it when I was like in college and with my friends and all that fun stuff. But if you ask me like, hey, do you enjoy alcohol? My answer would be no. Like I don't like it.
like the actual drink. Yeah, I mean, I think you've always said that, and you know, I think I'm in the same boat as you. It's like, oh yeah, when we were younger, it was like more of an excuse to go do stupid things more so than anything else. And now it's like, it's just so we can talk.
Dude, the running joke is like, I hit a panic button when I go to the bar because I don't like anything. Like I don't like beer. I don't like hard alcohol, blah, blah, blah. The only thing I can tell you that like I like is Surfsides because they taste like iced tea and not booze, and I like iced tea. So
I think those things are disgusting. I've had one.
What?
Yeah. I think you tried. No, someone tried giving them to me recently, and I said sure, and I threw them all out. Well, it's a good thing none of our friends listens to this podcast.
Dude, Surfsides are the best. Shout out Surfsides.
So do you actually like put any plan in place when trying to cheat? I mean, you said you just cut to cold turkey and that was it. Like, is there anything else that you're kind of working around it to be able to cut out caffeine?
2 things need to happen. The first needs to be my mindset around it. So if it's like, hey, I should stop drinking coffee, it's not going to happen. But it's like this is a problem. I have to kick this, or I have to do whatever. I have to make a change. Then that is the trigger. So I have to, this is probably not, again, this is why we say medical disclaimer, like this is not probably sound advice, but what works for me is I have to quote unquote hit rock bottom. So the day before, I was like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna stop drinking coffee. I doubled whatever I thought would be like a normal day, like 2-3 cups of coffee. I doubled it, and then I went on a really long run. And I came back and I was like, all right, I'm still like tingling, like I'm still over caffeinated after running like 5 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, like I don't like it gives you like that anxious feel. Like I was trying to provoke that anxious feeling and mentally connect the mindset of this anxious feeling, not fun. It's because of coffee. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
why you should stop. And or cut it out or reduce or whatever. But like the mindset piece was the first part of it. And then the second part is habit replacement. So I had a habit of waking up in the morning, like going downstairs, making a cup of coffee, sitting there, drinking it, doing my this and that before I got my day started. So that all that stuff is going to stay the same except the act of like making the coffee. So I have to replace the drink essentially. So there's alternatives out there that I looked into. I don't really want to drink like the mushroom water and like all that kind of stuff. I would experiment with it just to see.
Yeah.
But just replacing it with like water and like mixing creatine in it. It's more of a habit versus the actual substance. So like as an example, have you heard of I think it's pronounced flume or flum. It's to get rid of like vaping addictions and smoking.
Yeah. Yeah. It's familiar.
So it's like essentially like a packet soaked in essential oil, like peppermint or something.
Yeah.
And you put it in this cartridge that looks like a vape. It's not like electric or anything, but if you get it's one thing to kick the nicotine urge, but it's another to kick the physical like suck stick urge, the douche flute, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You've never heard any of those?
No.
So like you can kick the nicotine habit with patches, gum, blah blah blah, but it potentially is hard to kick the physical habit of like smoking, so to speak. So like that is their solution or that is their added solution. So like if you failed at nicotine patches in the past, nicotine patches plus this harmless whatever vapor blah 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 of just essential oils, those two things together can actually help you quit for good.
Sweet. So you got a solid plan. You're 6 days in. How do you feel?
Bro, I felt worse the first like 3 or 4 days, like almost like physical withdrawal symptoms, like headache, like sluggish.
Probably. Yeah.
I fell asleep on the couch at like 6:30 the first night. It was wild. There's
Do you have coffee like past noon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I keep it all before noon. That's like
so I'll say usually I drink like coffee in the morning, and if I'm dragging in the afternoon, like I'm not opposed to drinking it in the afternoon, but from like a routine standpoint, it's in the morning.
Gotcha.
But I was like hurting. Like I felt like I got hit by a bus. Like I was like almost hungover. And I remember thinking, why do I feel like garbage today? It's like I didn't have a cup of you didn't have a cup of coffee. Like I didn't expect it to hit me that hard. And really nothing else changed in my daily routine. So that's the only thing I can really chalk it up to. Or that being a contributing factor. But it wasn't fun. And it took, I don't know, 3-4 days of that feeling. And today and yesterday were chill.
It's like no difference, normal energy, like as if you never drank coffee.
Yeah, like trending in that direction. I can tell you it's 4:00 and I don't feel like garbage. So it says something.
That's good. Yeah. Oh yeah. I want to follow up with you because, like I told you before we hopped on, I'd done a little bit of research on like New Year's resolutions because obviously someone's research like, do people actually achieve these things? How often do they achieve them? A little bit of an older study from the 1980s. Interesting thing. New Year's resolutions been around a long time. It goes like all the way back to like farmers and like kind of beginning the farming season and people promising to pay their debts after like borrowing equipment and things like that. Yeah. So it was like, it actually kind of goes back to that. but there's a study in 1980 where they were just looking at how long did people stay on their New Year's resolutions. And it was like one weekend, 77 of the people had maintained their resolution. But one weekend, you already had 23% of the people drop out from trying to maintain their resolution. 1 month in, down to 55%, 3 months, 43%, 6 months, 40%. 2-year follow-up, it was at 19%. And it looked like this like weight loss and smoking cessation stuff. And it's 1980, so it's a little different. Not as many resources, not as much widely available evidence. So it's interesting to see how, like, if you just say, hey, I'm going to try to, I think that's the biggest thing here. This is just people saying, I'm going to do this with no, not trying to form a habit or try to set any type of goals around it. And that's what happened. So there's another study that looked at 2 different types of goals. You can have an approach-oriented goal or an avoidance-oriented goal. Okay. So the difference is that approach-oriented goal is that the goal is you're trying to reach or maintain a desired outcome, right? You're trying to add something to your daily lifestyle. So, right, I want to exercise more. I want to bike 30 minutes more a day or something like that, right? Those goals are typically easier than a avoidance-oriented goal, which is you're trying to avoid something. It's why, like, right, I'm trying to avoid drinking caffeine. I am trying to not drink caffeine. Those type of goals are I shouldn't say much harder, but not as successful as the other way around, right? Think about like, there's a certain food you really like. I think coffee is the easiest example for everyone. I mean, it could also just be, well, I drink every Friday night when I get home after work. Like I have 1 to 2 drinks. And trying to just get rid of that is very hard for some people. So one thing to think is, if you're trying to set yourself up for success, think about it's going to be easier to add something in than to take something out. And maybe making sure you have success with adding stuff in first before saying, all right, now I want to go I want to add exercise to try to be healthy first. And then, all right, now I'm going to start taking stuff away from a diet to kind of compound that effect.
That sounds like there's a good visual of a cup filled with water, and one spout is pouring in like clean water and the other spout's pouring in dirty water, like it's like black water. And it starts off with pouring both in and it's like not really changing that much. And then comparing it to like shutting off the black water and just letting the clean water run in, or vice versa, like just letting the black water run in. And that visually sounds like what you're talking about. Did you ever read the Atomic Habits book?
Oh no, sorry. I was thinking about a different book. No, I never read it. Never read that one. I listened to The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck recently, and that was a good one. So I was like,
you have to put explicit on this now.
I put explicit on all of them just to be safe.
Like one of the main things I got from that book was habit replacement. So like you said, that example, I come home and I have 2 drinks on a Friday night. It's like my little reward. If you want to quit drinking, it's harder to take that habit away completely. But if you swapped it for like non-alcoholic beer, as an example, like that, you still do the thing, quote unquote, but you're getting rid of that dirty water, that negative.
Yeah, like for me, switching to decaf coffee instead of fully caffeinated coffee.
Right.
It's not the same. It's not the same, but I'll do it.
I like the taste of coffee.
I do. I do crave the taste. We actually just got a different type of grounds. It's like a holiday flavoring, so it's all like mapley and all that. Tastes great, actually. Yeah, but I think that's kind of going back to New Year's goals, like to go like write your New Year's resolutions, drink coffee. I actually go and write out goals, and me and my wife Courtney actually went over it. But like, right, I break everything down. And it's like, all right, this is what I'm going to do for the year, essentially. So I have relationship and family goals, personal goals, professional goals, and financial goals. That's how I actually break it down. And then I even go down further of like personal goals, right? I want to run two marathons this year. Okay. how am I going to do that? So then I go down, I talk about programming and planning and things for that, right? I think that one's very, very good. And you're right. I think it's better to say a goal like that as opposed to saying, I want to be healthier. I just want to work out more. Because then you're not really setting yourself up like, okay, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? Like I think about when you talk with your clients and they go, I want to look better. Well, why? And then it's like you just kind of keep asking the why until you get to like the more minute details of like that's your why and this is how we're gonna do it.
Exactly. There's I like that, and it's funny you said that. 'Cause I don't know if you could see my phone, but it's my background now. Yeah, you can't. Nope.
No.
So it's I don't know if you follow Dan Martell. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, he's the buy back your time. I'm reading the book right now.
Yeah. So he has like 5 things like he has to do daily that's like non-negotiables as like a trickle down effect. So what is the few things that you can do consistently? And like that's the key word, consistently. Because if you can't maintain it consistently, it's not going to be effective. So what are the few things that you can do consistently to get you to those overall goals, right? So it might not look like exercising every day is going to get you to your financial goals. But if you think about it, you exercising consistently teaches you discipline. You need discipline to have good finances. If you're exercising consistency, you have more energy, you make different choices, blah, 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 blah. You can see where I'm running with that. Those things have a spillover effect of that clean water into your financial goals. So for me, like I have something that I have to hit daily where it's like connections, so like relationships, exercise goal, a learning goal, and a planning goal because I haven't been good with planning. So like picking the one thing I have to tackle tomorrow and setting those 4 things up. So like we're just momentum and steamrolling small win after small win. And you look back and the business doubled in a year. And it's like, why? It's like, I was doing the small things consistently.
Yep. Yeah, I'm adding education to my list.
Wow.
I do well because like it's one of those things that I realize I kind of do in a sense automatically. Like it's probably part of my day. Like right, I get up and I read every morning for 30 to 45 minutes. I go and I research for this podcast for another hour to 2 hours. We talk about other stuff that we're doing. So it's like I do it, but if it's like non-negotiable, when I get up in the morning, read a book for 30 minutes. And it could be on any topic I want to be. So no, I like that. But yeah, I think that's the problem around New Year's resolutions. People just go, I'm going to do this. And there's like no actual plan. There's no little steps to kind of get them to that spot.
Yeah. And it's a lot of the times too vague because people don't know where to start. So like I want to be healthier. It's like, okay, healthier could mean fitness. It could mean relationships. It could be healthy financially, the whole thing that you're trying to do is get clear on the one thing. And then what is the smallest step you can take towards that today?
Yeah. You remember SMART goals? That's
yes.
like
don't quiz me on it, but yes, I do.
Specific, measurable, attainable results oriented in a timely manner. But it's like it's like you can look up smart sheets and like be like, all right, I have a goal. Use that as a way to like kind of do your own little worksheet of like this is how I'm gonna get there.
100%. Like if you don't know where to start, that's a great resource.
Yeah.
Because it breaks down like, oh, I want to make more money. Well, how much money, by when, and do you have a job that has like fluctuating income where you like the more you do, the more you make, or do you have a job that's a fixed income? Then if you have a fixed income of $100,000 a year and you want to make $1 million, like where's the rest coming from?
Like it has to make sense. You got to figure out how you're going to get there. Like, one of my financial goals is to make a certain amount of money by the time I'm 35, or at least from an annual basis. And like I have written down how will I get there? Like what are my goals to actually get to that step? And so, right. And then kind of think, as you said, it's like, what are the daily things you have to do to get to that step? So No, that's a 5-year goal for me right now. Oof, almost 4. Um, by the time I'm 35. But yeah, I think it's funny because this is stuff that we don't get taught any of this in school. Like you don't, right? Like this is all stuff you kind of have to figure out on your own. And I feel like people get lost all the time. Like I'm sure we've done it. Like you just start Googling everything and you just run into weird things that are out there that won't actually get you there.
Yeah, it's not an information problem. All the
Now,
information's out there.
there's a commercial I keep seeing where it's like the guys running around. I think it's like, trust me, like I got shredded on the hot dog diet. And like I don't know why, but that just really sticks out of my head where I see someone be like, "Oh yeah, I just ate a bunch of hot dogs and because the guy on the internet told me to." And it's like now you're just blindly following without like really thinking like how do you get there?
Well, that's what most people do. It's like it's the TikTok effect. Oh, I saw it on
Yeah.
TikTok when someone's on TikTok and they're like the 3 best teas to drink for bloating. And now instead of focusing on your sleep, nutrition, and hydration, which are actually going to affect that in a real way, you're out buying some tea because you think it's the quick and easy fix. That's if we're going to talk about what grinds your gears, it's
Grind.
people not trying to move the small rocks before the big ones. That's a very real example of it's like, okay, if your exercise is inconsistent, your nutrition's all over the place, your hydration's not great, sleep sucks, but I need to buy this supplement because that is going to help me get a 6-pack.
Yeah, or
Like,
it's gonna help with my knee pain. I don't have any of that stuff checked, but I'm just gonna go buy the copper fit brace because it looks like it might help.
yeah.
And it actually might, but like it's not solving the root cause of your problem, not even coming close.
So the getting back to basics and doing the basics really well is always the first recommendation that I make.
Yeah,
So like,
it's funny you say that. I think the more the more we've done this stuff, or the more even I read from other people, it's all about the basics. Like you don't have to do super convoluted things to get healthy or get better at whatever your profession is. It's just
no,
be basic.
no, yeah, yeah. Doing the basics exceptionally well. It's really the secret sauce because most people won't do it because people crave, what's the word? Difference? What's something different? Variety.
Like
People
right, yeah,
crave people.
different.
Yeah, people crave variety. So if you're doing a strength program, that's going to get you to whatever physique you want in 6 months, but you get bored of it in 2. Are you willing to suffer through the boredom if you know it's going to get you to your goals?
That's
Most people aren't.
well, and even on that, it's like how can you track yourself if you're not doing the same something similar over and over again, right? This is like going back to like rehabbing and just seeing how other people have done it, or it's like people are just changing exercises like every week, 2 weeks, every session, and it's like how are you ever going to know they're progressing if you don't have like some benchmark previously to line them up against, like. Or, you got to do a little bit of the same stuff very well over and over again at some point to make sure that they're actually progressing. A little bit off topic there, but that you just sparked me there. Grinds my gears section.
Mikey, give me a win. Give me a win to wrap up
Win?
today.
Oh, win is for myself. Since I've gotten
Yeah.
my squat rack so I can barbell bench again. And so what I got about a month ago. I think I honestly, the first time I set myself up wrong, but I was like struggling at 165 pounds for the bench press. And like, I was like, what is going on here? Like, and I guess it's just because I haven't actually barbell benched in over a year. I had been doing dumbbell, but not barbell. So this morning I did 5 sets of 2 at 205 pretty easily, feeling good, getting back to my 225 bench.
Hercules.
Yeah, the goal is to get back to the 225. That's my win. You got any wins? Personal wins?
Personal wins. I planned Erica's surprise party
There you go.
over the weekend for her 30th
Big to do.
birthday. Yeah, and it was a cluster. It was a cluster logistically. It was a train wreck from the start, but we got it done. She wasn't very surprised, but it was a fun time.
You could say you attempted for it to be a surprise, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it would have been a surprise if her best friend didn't get sick for the original surprise, so we had to scramble and push it a week. And it was a bunch of dude. I can't keep up with all the lies. That's why the proposal was such a stressful time. So, I just had to make up fights. I just had to make up fights.
So selfish of that friend getting sick. I can't believe that.
Oh man. Oh well. That is that, my friend.
Yeah. You can go fix yourself.
Yeah. Coming to you live from snowy Colorado. Go fix yourself.